Welcome back to Sportz On Tap. I'm your host, James Laney, and it is just me tonight, actually, because this is going to be a new segment here on Sportz On Tap that we call The Latest with Laney. The way we operate here at Sportz On Tap, we usually record once a week on Mondays, and that can lead us to missing out on some big breaking news, such as that's come out today, which we'll get into in a second. So I actually live where the recording studio is, and Ryan and Kyle don't, so unfortunately they can't always have access to the studio, such as myself. So I'm going to be covering some breaking news when it happens. How often I do this, it really depends on the breaking news and if I think it's worth talking about. So this could be once a week, this could be twice a week, this could be once a month. I'm not really sure. We're just going to go with it and see how it goes. But yeah, I'd love to get your feedback. So if you listen to this, watching on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, give me some feedback. Let me know what you think of this. But let's go with our first segment of The Latest with Laney. Odell Beckham Jr. has finalized a deal with the Rams to finish out the season and play through the playoffs. I think this is a great signing for the Rams. I think it's a great signing for Odell. I'm going to go through the reasons why, but let's just say the impact that Odell has on the Rams. Clearly, the Rams are now the favorite to win it all. They were already a stacked offense with Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods and Matthew Stafford throwing them the ball. Now you add Odell to that mix, a guy that's hungry and wants to prove himself. That right there just it screams watch out to the whole league. That's really what it does. But let's not forget they got that strong offensive line. They have a good run game with Darrell Henderson Jr. Their defense is absolutely stacked. They already had Aaron Donald. They already had Jalen Ramsey. And then they went out and got Von Miller. Von Miller's older, but when he's your number 2 pass rusher, you can't go wrong. How do you go wrong with that? But yeah, and then let's not forget they also have a young, great coach in Sean McVay. Everyone didn't quite believe him a few years ago because they're like, oh, they had one magic year with Jared Goff. But now that you give him these actual weapons and real quarterback to work with, a guy that doesn't need a mic to get through a game, the Rams are the team to beat now. And I've been saying all year, like, oh, I'm all for Tommy and the Bucs, but the Rams are now the team to beat. There's no way and ifs or what's about it. That's how it's going to go. The reasons I think Odell joined was, one, he wants to win a ring. This team just fits so well. He wants to win a ring. They are in a win-now situation. This team hasn't had a first-round pick since Jared Goff, and they won't have another one until 2024 unless they make a trade. But they are a win now, and Odell needs to join a winning team. He wants to join a winning team. He has spent most of his career in losing environments, and that's not to bash on these other organizations. The Giants, they had one good year with him, but they didn't play well with him. They made the playoffs once, they lost, and they did not go well. Forced his way out, I shouldn't say forced, he got his way out, got over to the Browns, and it seemed like the Browns might have been a good fit, which I'll get into a little more later on, but the injuries weren't working. Him and Baker didn't have quite a great connection. It wasn't that magic everyone was expecting, because the Browns are a good team. It's just Odell does not fit with that run-heavy scheme, and I was saying that even in the offseason, they should move on from Odell. You can see the difference when Baker has Odell and doesn't, and he plays better without, which makes no sense because Odell's a talented player. But yeah, he wants to win now. He wants to win a ring. He wants to prove he can still be that guy. And I don't think the target is going to be a problem here because Matt Stafford is such a good quarterback. And I'm going to get into the reasons now why I think he's going to work well in LA, besides all these reasons I said before of it's a just stacked team in general, absolutely stacked. Why I think him personally is going to work well. One, who do you put your number 1 on? Who do you put your number 1 cornerback on? Is it Cooper Kupp? Is it Robert Woods? Do you try to stop Odell? It's those kind of things. But the reason I think he was going to work better here than Cleveland is the Rams look to pass first and then run second. Where Cleveland is a cold environment, and Kyle said this many times, where they look to run first with that duo of Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb when healthy, and then to pass second, which it works well. But they just don't use Odell enough. They didn't use Odell enough where the Rams play in a nice warm stadium, and it's gonna work real well. And plus, when, like I said, you have Odell, who do you cover number 1? Is he your 2, 3, 1 option? What is it? It's unbelievable. And I think the second reason why he's really going to thrive is because of the quarterback situation. I know that Matthew Stafford's a more talented quarterback than Baker Mayfield, and I think he's a smarter quarterback than Baker Mayfield. That's not to take away from what Baker Mayfield has done, because if you look, he has clearly improved and has made strides. I like Baker. I really do, but he's not Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford has proven that he can do it with terrible team since he spent 99.9% of his career with the Lions, and he's only had one amazing weapon in Calvin Johnson. So he knows how to go through the reads. He knows when to force it. He knows who to go to, when to go to. He knows how to do these because he's played on such terrible teams and made it work. To an extent with the Lions. I understand it's a terrible organization. They haven't done much with that. But Matt Stafford is a much smarter quarterback. And I've always said I think Odell would work better with a smarter quarterback than a more talented. Matt Stafford happens to be both than Baker, which is great. Because I've always thought Odell has this aura with that one-handed catch. Everyone thinks he can catch everything. Unbelievable. But I really think having a smarter quarterback, knowing when to throw to Odell, is the way to go. But yeah, I think he's just really going to thrive. He's hungry. This whole team is hungry. Almost no one on this team's won a ring. The head coach doesn't have a Super Bowl. Matt Stafford doesn't have a Super Bowl. None of the receivers have Super Bowls. Von Miller, actually, he is the one guy that does have a Super Bowl ring. But Aaron Donald doesn't have one. Jalen Ramsey doesn't have one. This team is win now, in their prime, and hungry. I think it's a great fit for both. I don't think Odell stays there long term, though. I think this is kind of like I need to prove myself because he's 29. He's in the tail end of his prime. He's going to want a big contract. He wants one more big contract. The Rams don't have the money to spend because they already pay everyone else, which makes sense. They make the right moves. They're doing well. But I think Odell's going to use this year to win a ring, prove himself, and get back on the free agent market and sign somewhere else and make big money, which he deserves because he is still that guy, I believe. He was just in a system that did not favor him before. So I'm excited to see how it goes. I'm hoping he plays this first week. As a New England fan, bumming he didn't come here, but I understand the move and I respect it. But yeah, that's all I have for this first segment. Just wanted to go over this breaking news of Odell. This is the latest with Laney. If you could let me know how you think this is, if you like this, you want to see more of this. We are not getting rid of the Sportz On Tap gang. Just sometimes we can't get breaking news. I love to do this stuff. I want to cover more of it. Sometimes the guys just can't be here, unfortunately, because I live with the studio. They do not. But if you do like what we're doing, we will have a link for the merch store down below. Also, please like, share, comment, tell your friends. Just any little bit helps. Thank you very much. Signing off.